Jungkook's reaction made ARMY cry. Taehyung suddenly left Los Angeles, but why? The unexpected seems to follow BTS wherever they go. But this time, the surprise was so powerful, it left millions of ARMY around the globe in tears. What began as a night of glory for Kim Taehyung, better known as V, at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, ended with one of the most emotional and confusing moments in recent BTS history. Why did Taehyung, after making history on one of the biggest stages in America, suddenly leave Los Angeles and fly back to Korea? Why was Jungkook, usually the strongest and calmest figure for fans, visibly shaken when he heard the news? And most importantly, what truth lies beneath the silence? This is the question echoing across continents. What really happened that night? At first, it felt like a celebration. Taehyung stood under the dazzling lights of Dodger Stadium, his smile lighting up the crowd. Thousands cheered in the stadium, millions more watched online. Every step, every glance, every wave of his hand carried the weight of BTS's global legacy. Cameras captured him with the grandeur of a superstar, the idol who could make an entire stadium roar just by standing on the mound. For ARMY, it was a night to remember, a reminder of how far BTS had come and how deeply Taehyung's presence could move hearts worldwide. But behind the loud cheers and flashing cameras, a different story was already forming, one that would break fans' hearts in ways no one could have predicted. Because before the cheers had even settled, news spread like wildfire. Taehyung had already boarded a flight back to South Korea. No extended stay, no public appearances, no time to soak in the historic moment. It was over in a flash. Unlike his past international schedules, there were no extra days in LA, no follow-up events, no explanation, just a swift departure that left everyone in shock. Why leave now? Fans cried. Why so suddenly? The shock only grew heavier when Jungkook's reaction surfaced. Known as the Golden Maknae, Jungkook has always been the steady heartbeat of BTS. Calm, strong, and often a source of comfort for ARMY, he rarely lets his emotions show too openly. Yet eyewitness accounts from Los Angeles described something unusual. Jungkook was quiet. Too quiet. His expression carried a weight that fans weren't used to seeing. He looked shaken. And that single reaction was enough to ignite a firestorm. If Jungkook, the one ARMY often sees as unshakable, appeared moved, worried, or even hurt by Taehyung's sudden departure, then how serious must the situation really be? In that instant, what could have been just another travel schedule turned into an emotional earthquake. Fans cried as they saw Jungkook's subdued demeanor. For ARMY, Taehyung and Jungkook's bond isn't just friendship. It represents unity, loyalty, and the soul of BTS itself. Seeing Jungkook react in such a raw way was like watching that bond tremble before their eyes. Speculation exploded. Was it personal? A family matter? Health concerns? Something urgent in Korea that no one knew about? Some industry insiders whispered that it could be tied to upcoming BTS projects, carefully hidden from the public. Others suggested the secrecy pointed to something even bigger, something Taehyung couldn't yet share. And all the while, silence from big hit music made everything worse. No official statement, no clarification, just silence. For ARMY, who are used to BTS being transparent, the lack of answers was heartbreaking. Questions multiplied. Was something wrong? Was Jungkook left in the dark too? Or was this all part of a plan? Journalists covering the event noted how symbolic the split felt. Taehyung was already back in Korea, while Jungkook remained in Los Angeles for his own schedule. Two paths suddenly divided, right after a moment that was supposed to symbolize unity. Was it intentional? Or was it a last-minute decision, unexpected even for Jungkook himself? Fans cried. Tweets flooded timelines. Posts filled with heartbreak, saying Jungkook's reaction had made them sob uncontrollably. ARMY, spread across the world, suddenly felt like they were living inside a mystery no one could solve. And yet, as the storm of speculation grew louder, a different picture began to emerge. Reports later revealed that Taehyung's flight had been scheduled in advance. There was no secrecy, no emergency, no hidden agenda. His trip back to Seoul was part of a carefully planned itinerary, an itinerary that balanced his endorsements, personal commitments, and even looming military obligations. The idea that he had left suddenly wasn't entirely accurate. What really happened was that fans simply didn't know his exact travel schedule, and the lack of announcement created an illusion of chaos. And Jungkook's so-called emotional breakdown? That too was exaggerated. Yes, he seemed quiet, but insiders clarified that Jungkook already knew Taehyung's plans. His reserved demeanor wasn't a sign of crisis. It was simply Jungkook being himself, focused on his own commitments in LA. What looked like heartbreak was, in truth, logistics. So why did the story explode into such a wave of emotion? The answer lies in ARMY's heart. Fans love BTS so deeply that even the smallest details, a flight, a facial expression, a moment of silence, can become magnified into something monumental. To ARMY, Jungkook and Taehyung's bond is sacred, so when it looked like Jungkook was hurting, it felt personal. Social media only amplified the storm. Headlines used words like sudden, abrupt, shocking. Posts speculated wildly. And soon, what began as routine schedules had become a global drama. But here's the truth. Taehyung's return to Korea was planned. Jungkook's reaction was not a breakdown, but a simple quiet moment. Big Hit's silence was not secrecy, but standard practice. There was no hidden family crisis, no sudden illness, no secret rift inside BTS. Yet, despite all that, one undeniable fact remains. The tears ARMY shed were real. Because whether the drama was rooted in truth or speculation, it reminded the world of just how much fans love BTS. It showed how deeply ARMY cares, how connected they feel to every breath, every step, every decision Taehyung and Jungkook make. Even in misunderstanding, there was love. Even in speculation, there was loyalty. Looking back, the night at Dodger Stadium will forever hold two images. Taehyung shining like a star before the world, and Jungkook's quiet expression afterward, magnified by millions of hearts into something unforgettable. One was fact, the other, interpretation. But together they created a story that touched the world, and maybe that's the real power of BTS. Even in their silence, even in the smallest gestures, they can move millions to feel, to cry, and to unite. So why did Taehyung leave so suddenly? The answer is simple. He didn't. His trip was planned. Why did Jungkook seem shaken? Because fans love him so much, every quiet moment feels like a storm. And why did this story matter? Because it reminded ARMY that their bond with BTS is one of the most powerful connections in music history. For now, the world waits for the next chapter. But one thing is certain. Even in moments of confusion, BTS continues to prove that their every step, planned or unplanned, has the power to move the entire globe.